Good day to you. This is Galactic. In mid-October, today is the 15th day of October. Today I'm officially 71 years old, whereas day before yesterday I was officially 70 years old. And right on my birthday, exactly at the bisector, down to the microsecond, down to the quantum of continuity of time itself, exactly on my birthday, whenever you measure that to the second or nanosecond, my birthday was the dividing line this year in this region between summer and winter. So, man, do I feel great. However, I also feel cold. On my birthday, this region went from its usual 5-month drought and overnight, literally in just my birthday, as I was being born, so to speak, summer ended and the drought ended. And today it's freezing. 2 days ago it was boiling or searing. And today it's freezing. Americans love to reach for the top shelf on all forms of communication. That's why we use so many swear words and foul, disgusting words. It's because we really, really, really want to tell you how much we love our fucking puppy. It's really what drives us, just the love of animals. That's why we say shit and fuck. It's because our dogs shit and fuck, okay? And so do we. The temperature dropped 50 degrees. 40 degrees. Could be a little less. It dropped 40 degrees and it went from a searing plague-like drought to a flood of water. And that all happened as I was being born. I was coming out. You don't want to picture this unless you're made of stern stuff. A lot of men have reported being there when their child was born through the man's wife. Really through a specific part of the woman's body, if you want to get medical about it. And I'm just like, really? I do not respect that at all. I think that you're incredibly brave, but I don't think of that as being an asset. You're stupid enough that, what, because you love your wife and you want to be with her because she might die with you holding her hand while she's giving birth? I wouldn't be in the same building as a baby being born. Having sex is filthy, not because there's anything morally or ethically wrong with it, except, of course, the way humans actually do it. But everything involved with the birth of a baby, babies are the filthy, dirtiest motherfucking, pardon. Actually, yes, they are motherfucking literally. A baby being born can murder its own mother. I mean, you can't really say it's murder because if it went to court, I think the baby would get off with a light sentence. But the woman dies, it's just too much. It used to happen all the time. It doesn't happen as much anymore, except, of course, in Palestine, where the Israelis want the women to die in childbirth because they want the women and children to die. I just watched Norman Finkelstein, who does pronounce it Finkelstein because his parents changed the pronunciation when they swam across the Atlantic Ocean to get out of the death-fired gas traps in Europe, as so many Dutch people and English and Italian people did as well. To swim across the Atlantic, as they all had to do because boating and shipping had not been invented in the in the shit age. Yeah, I woke up with a burr up my butt because for 3 solid months, these mofos out on the highway, which is right across, I'm just barely far enough away from the highway that I don't really hear it. So I'm really blessed to have this home. But not for the past 3 months I haven't been blessed. Because this shit-eating town is fixing the motherfucking highway, which does not need fixing. They just want to look better. Of course, they're not going to help the community in any way. That money should have been spent to clear all the hobos. They're called hobos. You moronic fuck generation. Don't you ever correct the way I use words. I don't care if it is ancient. Oh, they're not hobos. They're called homeless people. You little pipsqueak. You know, what's your phone number? I'm going to text you angrily. So what did I want to tell you about today? First of all, my birthday is now officially over and I'm officially 71. Summer has officially ended and now it's winter. The extreme hot season, which desiccated my skin as well as anybody else and really wore me out with just endless, just crushing, debilitating, demoralizing heat that I've endured now for 6 years, actually 7 in this shit-eating region. I wanted to tell you I'm supposed to be out on the coast, except that heaven doesn't think I should be. And if heaven doesn't think I should be, then I'm wrong. But you want to be honest with heaven. You don't want to be lying to heaven. So that's the only reason I tell you the truth, is because heaven is listening to me tell you whatever I lie to you about or would be lying to you about, just to get rid of you, just to make you go away. Well, this is why I live alone, is because I really feel these feelings. I hate humanity. I don't like people. I'm sick of this world. I say, oh, you suicidal, you poor old man. No, you don't need to intervene. If I ever decide to, off myself, no one's even going to know it happened. Ha ha. There's no intervention for you. This is what has really pursued me all my life. I'm not complaining, but I do need to point out that of all the Americans that I've ever met, and of course I've met a wide range of Americans, what even my siblings never really fully grasped, not even to this day, and you can imagine it may have caused me a problem as well, that I have a certain perception of the world and of myself that no other human being has ever had. And it's not just because I'm just randomly different, like you are from your neighbor and I am from you and your other neighbor, well, all three are different. Has nothing to do with that form of difference. That's a beautiful, wonderful difference. The difference that separates me from my entire generation, as far as I can tell, what makes me absolutely, utterly unique, that there's never been a person like me, in the sense of being absolutely un-American. I have no American characteristics. It's like I was sent down from heaven to visit the American people to give them some message. And you know, some men, if they believe that too strongly, can become serial building blower-uppers or something really, really horrific. They're basically going to screw the pooch, is how we would say it. I'll just say in certain places I've been for training briefly, we would say you really fouled that mission. You really screwed the pooch. And that means you fucked up. Well, heaven did not fuck up in making me completely different, for instance, from you. There is no way on God's green earth that you're ever going to understand me the way you understand other Americans, because I am non-understandable. Now that also leads to social problems, and I've had my share of problems. Essentially, I am admired. People respect me, but they're not sure why they respect me, and so they end up hating me. It's really love and hate with an American. Either you're in or you're a fucking foreigner, and I am basically, I just smell, I just smell, I look, I just have an aura of someone who came down from heaven. I have been told this so many times. Both inside the accursed American churches, may God have mercy on whomever he can, both inside the churches and in the scientific community. I've been to several universities and colleges and studied my ass off. And the first thing I think that Americans noticed about me as I was growing up is I don't talk like an American. I can't stand foul language. I have adapted. My father never swore in his house. I listened to that man speak. I was his son, and I checked with my sisters. No, Dad never used a swear word. Never. And he was basically in a locker room with at least 30 of the foulest swearing humans on earth. American baseball players cannot be matched for their ability to come up with the most disgusting, disgraceful, low-down, hilarious foul language of all time. Oh, shit and fuck, you have no idea, sweetie. You couldn't stand it. I don't care if you're a 200-pound, big, brawny, meaty killer. And, you could just pound my face. You'll cry like a bitch, you little fuck. You hear my father, who actually did tell my sisters, basically through my mother, that yes, your father can swear like a goddamn trooper. He doesn't do it because he doesn't want to. He doesn't do it. But he told me, his wife, this is my mother talking to my sisters, then telling me, which is how I learned everything about my family. Because I was blessed to have two sisters. Well, I guess you can tell we don't have much science today. I just wanted to rant and tell you that no, there's not going to be a broadband connection. I'm now permanently poor, so there's not going to be any progress any longer. And everything that I promised you, I'm sorry. I can't control the universe. I don't have enough money to live on from month to month. I'm not going to make it another year. I'm dying of poorness. I'm poor. If anybody has the right to ask you shitheads for your fucking money, it would be myself. I have that right. Instead, you give it to fuckers who are there just to rape the money out of your pockets. They'll do anything to get your hard-earned money. If you sent me money without warning and it arrived in the mail, I would burn it. I don't deal with money. I think of money as diarrhea orange shit. It's poisonous with every form of COVID and bugs. I hate money. I hate your money. I obviously hate my own money. And that's actually caused some problems. Because if you run out of money, certainly in America, you're a corpse. You're a ghoul. You have no money. You're worthless. You have nothing then. Because an American is valued by the money that he represents. I represent a deficit. When you're looking at me, you're looking at a moth that just dissolved any money in its environment. That moth just eats money. Well, somehow I've lived and gotten by to the age of 71. So I made it. I made it to the finish line. I'm ready to die. I tried to kill myself this year 3 times. It's really the beer that was trying to kill me, and it could have been, an evil spirit. But it's not my time. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. Thank you. All right, good day to you. It's October 14th, my birthday. I'm 71 years old today. Okay, we have a book called the I Ching, which is about the cycles of nature. Now, you may have heard of the I Ching. Well, you may have heard of the Bible, too. But what do you know about either one? That's why I'm here, is to give you insight into what the things are that you know about. Well, you need a guide. You weren't born into this world with wisdom. I had no idea that I was speaking directly from heaven. In a way, always, because I've actually made it. I am in heaven. Now, you don't have to believe that. You probably shouldn't, certainly not as a scientist. Maybe as a faithful believer, you're required to believe me. Well, there's the perfect trap to catch your soul and you forever. So I'm not here to trick you, and I'm also not here to help you. Because if I were here to do either one, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
I'm smarter than you. I'm wiser than you. I will always be ahead of you. You will never catch up.
But that's not actually a problem. You know I'm just posturing. We're all the same.
Initially. But we don't end up the same. Every religion says that. There are bad men and there are good men. Well, then you might ask, what about the women? Only an idiot would ask that question, so I pass it by. What about the children? That is a legitimate question. What about the children? They don't really know anything, but are they human? Depends on the child. And now the forces of evil are even trying to get rid of the one reminder that we have that heaven is still in control. And if he wants to send a truly wise man and prove to you, go ahead and kill him. And therefore you have to serve me. I get your daughters. I get your firstborn son. I get all your money. I get your wives if I demand them. I'm your religious leader. Good day to you. This is Galactic. On my birthday, it's October 14th. That is what my mother told me. And everybody went along with it, so if it's a deception, it certainly has me in the bag. Every day is your birthday. The idea of your birthday is a superstition made up by your idiot peers and ancestors, like everything else. The only way to go free in this world, by finding the truth. How do you do that? Well, Al-Ghazali told me this morning, reminded me of what I know best. I don't need anybody to tell me this, but I like to have support, to know that the Imam Al-Ghazali from 1,000 years ago was exactly like me. So I don't necessarily need to do what he did, which was quite ascetic. He was a Sufi, and Sufis are extremists. I don't like extremists, although I'm greatly attracted to what they do, because fasting and solitude are the only way to reach God or the truth. You're not going to ever find out the truth, whether you think it's in science or religion, in heaven or on earth. You're not going to find it except alone. If you're with anybody else, or even if anybody is talking with you, and you're somehow allied or joined with the rest of humanity, you're fucked. That's exactly what you're trying to get away from. If you're trying to find the truth, you're going to have to be alone. You know why? Because you die alone. You never die in the company of anybody else. Now, when you're born, you're never alone. You're born from a mind. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. Now, everybody knows that in their finest moments. But if you're from the West, as I am, that is the New World, the white invaders from Europe, the filthy, dirty, goddamn barbarians from the European peninsula, which is kind of like the face of Asia staring towards the New World. Italy, where the Pope lives, right? Italy, that hellhole. The Greeks that butt fuck each other and goats. The Spanish, can't think of anything bad to say about the Spanish, but I'm sure Franco. Wish me a happy birthday. I've been reading Al-Ghazali, an imam, a leader of the early Islamic people, a man who became an ascetic and a recluse in order to get away from his duties in order to pursue truth. And men will seclude themselves, even so far as to go into caves, but just to separate themselves, and that does seem to be a general principle. He took the 4 courses of truth, and he talks about his search for truth exactly, precisely, in the same language used today by scientists and gurus. That nothing has changed in 1,000 years. Use your imagination somewhat in the older writings. Perhaps 2,000 years ago, were people any different then? I'm not sure. The only trust I have in the commonality of man is that which I can directly relate to my own experience. As soon as you start to trust another human, you're on the road to death already. You can't trust anybody in this world. Native principles, such as something can't be both existent and non-existent at the same time. The philosophical course, where you're consulting basically experts. The religious course, where you're seeking transcendent experience. And then there are the guardians of theology, the people like the Pope, who just do nothing but dole out medicine for the masses, right? Noam Chomsky, for instance, would be a philosopher. A scientist and a philosopher are exactly the same thing. There's no difference between a scientist and a philosopher. But Al-Ghazali does make a difference between the scientist-philosopher, someone who's trying to test for truth, and the religious theologian. This is someone who is searching in another medium. When you're looking for
God! God!
God!
well, that could be
Jesus!
well, if you live out in Arabia, a distinct lack of water. So Al-Ghazali was, according to the American culture, a sand nigger. A sand nigger. I just thought that was... Some things are just so disgusting, they're hilarious. This is the time of year when we make fun of the macabre. And I suppose in its own way to call someone a nigger, or a sand nigger. But I do have that mentality. I was imbued with the diarrhea of Satan, was just siphoned right up my nose from youth. You came from God, but now Satan has your ass. Well, what I found out from Al-Ghazali is the same exact thing is going on today. Just the most miserable assortment of liars and deceivers even imaginable, that Satan cannot keep out the light. Because in the origin of all things, there was light. Light is motion. Everything that we see has no surface except for what we imagine by projection. So that's the end of science. You found out everything you need to know about science that you can find out with your mind. All I'm doing is quoting what Al-Ghazali told me this morning. What goes around comes around. Well, all that is a third grade merry-go-round. Now, there was one exception, and no, it was not John F. Kennedy. He fucked babes, okay? Your president was fucking babes, yeah. There was one good president, and he got shot in the back of the head. Okay? His name was Abraham Lincoln. So there are exceptions to everything. There really are. Except among the devils. Once you turn to the evil side, no. There are no traitors amongst Satan's horde. So what Al-Ghazali was telling me was reminding me that my search for a psychedelic freedom, my search for religious freedom, my search for philosophical freedom, logical and scientific freedom, my search for heaven, My search for truth is from the start. And Al-Ghazali swears to God on this. And he talks about the prophet. He knew the prophet practically personally. One of the foremost authorities on the office of a prophet outside of the office of a prophet. Now, you may have some dubious notions about me at this point. I'm talking about prophets. Well, you know I'm in nursery school Waterley Duckland. That's because you're possessed by sin. I am an exception to every rule. I'm from the other side. I just don't like it here. I'm a coast person. I do this for myself, and I have to project myself. And what I wanted to say is, the cycles of nature are the bottom line that solve all problems. We'll be right back with science. Thank you.